Hello everyone, and welcome back to another tutorial on the Konica Minolta BizHub series. Today I'm going to show you, if you're lucky enough to have one of these iPads, I'm now going to show you and give you a bit of an evaluation on the new Pagescope Mobile software for the iPad that will let you print and scan from your iPad, or the iPhone for that matter, to the directly to any of the new BizHub models. So if you come a bit closer, I'm going to show you in detail everything that is required to get this to work. So the first thing you need to do is obviously go into the App Store, and what I would recommend, just go and do a search for Pagescope. If I go up there, I've already got my Pagescope search in there. I'll hit the search button, and what we will get up now is there is one application for the iPad, and there is also a separate one for the iPhone. So I'm going to select the iPad version, and obviously you just hit on the installation. I've already installed it on this one, but hit on install. It's free to buy, but you need to put in your iTunes username and password to download it. Once it's downloaded and installed, I'll go back to my applications here. There's my Pagescope Mobile or PS Mobile icon. So I'll go in there. Now there's a couple of settings you need to do to get this to work. The first thing is to select a printer. And if I click on select printer here, you can see that I've actually already installed the printer. This particular printer is a BizHub C220 that I'm printing to, but it actually shows up in the interface here as a Founder Novell Netwear printer, and that is now set as the default. I'm going to go into that printer, look at the details. You can see there's a few settings that the printer allow us to change. I can turn on duplex, I can turn on collate, punch, offset, staple. Monochrome can be turned on or off, and I can also select the paper tray. So to select that, to have that printer installed, I actually just tapped on the add printer button. It's set to auto discover any new printer, and the printer that I've got on my local Wi-Fi network. Just one important point to make, that the iPad needs to be connected to the same local Wi-Fi network as the printer is on. I could also go in here and manually register a new printer, given that it's obviously needs to be one of the new BizHub ones that are compatible with this application, and I can just type in the IP address and search for it directly. The auto discovery just found mine straight away. And you can see that it's now registered. Okay. In order to set up scanning on this machine, and that is, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. If I go into the scan settings here, you can see that as soon as I hit the scan button, this message comes up, and it says the scan data can now be received. Please start scanning. And the destination address is the IP address, and it's using port 8080 as a default scanning port. And what this means, you need to prepare this on the actual BizHub device. And if I go over here, I'll show you how I've set this up to the scan. You need to set up a one-touch scan destination to match the iPad. So if I go into my settings here to show you how I've actually set that up, into utility counter button, I'll go into one-touch destination, create one-touch destination. I go into address book number 1, and this particular scanning protocol is using, well, the iPad is using the WebDAV protocol. So I hit number 6 there, and you can see that I've already got my iPad entry in here. So if I hit edit on that, I can show you how I've set up my settings. Very simple to set up. All I set up in here, I give my scan button a name, so I've just called that iPad. That can be called, you can name that anything you like. User ID and password I've left blank because I have the default on the iPad Pagescope application is no username and password. I'll go on to page 2 out of 3 here, and the only thing I need to define is the host address, which is, if you look at the iPad, the host address is actually the address of the IP address of the iPad. So I've typed that in here, and if we look back on the display here now, we've got file path is nothing defined there, but on page 3 out of 3, and the trick that you need to remember is that you define the port number, and the port number is actually default set to 80. So just type that in on the keypad and modify that to port 8080, so you're matching the iPad settings. And that's all to get this working. So now I'm going to show you the scanning. I'll show you the scanning first, and then I'll show you the printing afterwards. So I'm going to grab a test sample to scan. Which would be, I'll put that into the document feeder there. Okay, so I've got a scan there. The iPad, or the Pagescope application on the iPad, is now ready to receive data. So back to my main screen again. I'll hit scan on here. I select on next page here, I believe. Yeah, I've got my iPad button there. So I select that one and start. And you can now see on the iPad that it will come up in a minute. Yep, it comes up with the message there, scan has been successfully uploaded, so I can hit OK on that. And I've now finished my scan, so I'll just tap end. And you can see on here that I've actually got a new file scanned. And there it is there, so that's scanned as a PDF, which is my default file type. And I'll also show you how to print a file. So what I can do here, I'll just bring up my PDF file. All I need to do, hit the print button. It then prompts me to modify any of the settings. If I'm happy with the default settings, I'll just select print. Print data has been sent to the printer, so I just confirm that. And you can now see the printer is actually receiving the data, and it's printing it as we speak. Okay, and one last thing I would like to show you is that you can, of course, you can print files that are already within the Pagescope program. But if you're like me, I've got my mail client configured to my Exchange server, and so if I go into my email program and look at one of my emails, just going to pick that one at the top there. Now it's actually, well, that's previewing my the scan that I did earlier, because I scanned that to my address as well. And if I hit hold that, I tap it for a long time, and this little quick menu comes up. So I can choose open in. So this is any PDF file on any email attachment. I'll say that I want to open that in PS Mobile, and you can see that that PDF or that email attachment is now automatically transferred to my Pagescope Mobile program, and I can hit the print button, print, and that's how quick and easy I can actually print anything from my email without really transferring it to the program in any way. So, and hit done, and that's it, and that's now printing out. There we go. Okay. And that really concludes our Pagescope mobile evaluation. And yeah, my personal view is I think it's a really useful application, very easy to set up. Certainly after watching this YouTube video you'll be able to do it yourself. And thank you for watching.